What's up, everybody? You are back on the other side with me, Mike G, and today's guest is a legend from one of the most exciting eras in heavyweight boxing. With fists of stone and a heart of gold, he carved his name into boxing's history books and the hearts of fans for a generation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to introduce to you the White Buffalo, FRANS BOTHA. How's it going, buddy?
Lovely, Mike. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you. I want to go back to the very, very beginning because I have no clue what it must be like to grow up in Africa. Tell me about your childhood and what it was like.
It was fabulous. It's grew up on a farm with my dad, young boy. Went to school. You play rugby. The sports in school back then, rugby and stuff. And I started boxing. At a young age. My nose was bloodied all the way from the beginning. They never thought that I would continue. But I did. I won my first fight and I slept with my trophy. And I went on 28 amateur titles, my country's colors twice, the gold medalist at the All Africa Games, because back then, apartheid, we couldn't compete in the Olympics, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but I did win the All Africa Games. I never had a chance to compete in the Olympics.
Okay. What is your earliest memory of combat sports or fighting?
There was a heavyweight, there was a lot of heavyweight fights, but one of our own South African fighters, Harry Kutsia, I was actually training with him when I was a youngster as well. And he fought for the heavyweight title, and that was my first experience basically in the big stage when I was with him. So
Okay.
yeah, that was a good memory, and I told him from the start, like even when I was a young boy, I told him one day I'm gonna win the heavyweight title. I'm gonna win the heavyweight championship of the world.
That's
And
awesome.
they all thought I was crazy, they didn't believe me back then.
They'd see eventually. um, I want to fast.
Eventually, yeah, but that's it.
I want to fast forward to February 11th, 1990, at the Portuguese Hall in Johannesburg, South Africa. Johan van Zyl, is that correct?
Benzo.
Okay.
Yeah,
How did your boxing
I
debut go?
remember that was my first debut. I think that was my debut. Now, what they didn't know, let me tell you a secret.
Okay.
What they didn't know is that I wasn't even supposed to be a boxer. The doctors told me I could never fight again. And I told them, I said, listen, only God decides for me. And I went on with one arm basically. But you'll see, if you see my record, my first part of my record, there's not a lot of knockouts because I didn't have both my arms.
Okay.
But I won the fights. I went on and I proved the doctors wrong because I'm fighting.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to 1995, you've amassed an amazing record at that point of 35-0 before getting paired against Axel Schultz for the IBF heavyweight belt. How did that fight play out? And if you're comfortable with it, talk a little bit about the fallout afterwards.
Ah, well, I trained very hard for that fight. I was for 3 months in training camp.
Whew.
Every day I was like knocking out guys in the sparring. Every day I had to bring in different guys. They were flying in and out. So I was ready. I was very ready for that fight. And I think the main thing what happened with Schultz is, they didn't give me a chance. They already celebrated like around the ring, champagne and everything. And when I won the fight, I told them, I leaned over the ring. I said, I told you so. And as I said that, the bottles and glasses start coming in, and a big riot broke out. About probably, I think 40 something people went to hospital.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I had to rush out of it because they wanted to kill me. They flew me
Yeah.
immediately out to the airport. From the airport out, get me out of there as quickly as possible. I've never had the chance to really celebrate my victory because right after that, that's when all the nonsense, and I think you're gonna need another show for that. That's when all the
Right.
nonsense started.
Mhm.
I was in court back and forth fighting. which I was supposed to fight I think I was supposed to fight Tyson after that.
Okay.
But it was in a crossfire. Everybody came on me because everybody wanted that position.
Yeah. You picked up a few quality wins before being matched against the one and only Mike Tyson in 1999. What were your thoughts on Mike as an opponent going into the fight, and walk me through the fight itself?
Me and Mike was friends long way before that. I mean, we
Mhm.
trained in the same camp. I mean, he saw how many guys I always send home, and he actually wanted to spar. I told him, I said, "Are you crazy? You think I'm stupid?" He asked me why. I said, "Once you spar me, you'll never fight me." You know.
Right.
Yeah, he would have never fought me if he sparred me because he wouldn't have. Listen, I know how to fight him.
There we go.
So now there's been rumors. He wants to do it, but let's see. Let's see after the announcement we'll make. You and me will be on a talk show again, and
Okay.
let's see if it comes to the table.
Alrighty. um, let's see here. I would love to know about the fight with Lennox Lewis. How was that experience?
Yeah. You know what? Let me tell you this. This is one of my fights that I never got into that fight. Never
Okay.
did. And totally wrong way I fought it in the first place. But that's one of my worst performances. It took me a long time to get over that loss. Because that
Okay.
wasn't me. It's not the way I fight.
Right.
Lennox, let me tell you something. Lennox got tremendous power.
Hmm.
He hit me harder than anybody hit me before.
Wow.
Lennox. So he caught me with a left uppercut straight right, and he hit me out of the ring. I think it was the second round. He hit me out of the ring, and by the time I got back, it was too late. So we stopped the fight. So it was very disappointing for me. It wasn't because I've always performed in all my fights,
Hmm.
and this was one that I didn't perform the way I wanted to.
Okay. Um, After that loss, you take on Tony La Rosa. How good did it feel to get that win after fighting Lennox, and especially to get it in that fashion?
Mm. Well, winning. I was used to winning. Like, man, this is my first loss, I believe.
Hmm.
So I always compete. I always come out. I always wanna give my best. But Lewis was just a big disappointment. So I don't even remember this guy you mentioned, Tony La Rosa or somebody.
Okay. He was your first win after Lennox.
Oh, Lewis. Yeah, well, you gotta get back. You gotta get the wins back to get forward again. To go forward.
Yep. March 16th, 2002, you take on the Russian machine, Vladimir Klitschko. How did you envision that fight going beforehand, and where did it go wrong?
Now let me tell you something now, man. Mm. And this guy, let me tell you something. Let me, Mike, I'm gonna tell you something the way I feel. I gotta tell you the way I feel as a fighter.
Okay.
Those guys shouldn't. Let me tell you, that night when I fought that guy, Klitschko, he was shaking. He was shaking like a leaf, like in front of me. He was very nervous. Uh, the way, if I was 100% that night, he wouldn't have lasted 2 rounds. Instead, he took 10 rounds
Hmm.
after that fight, and I never announced it to the public. After that fight, I went and I did a urine test
Hmm.
and blood test. I had influenza A, B, and a liver infection. So the doctor told me,
Phew.
"You want to kill yourself?" I said, "No, no. I was already there. If I wanted to pull out of
Hmm.
a fight, they wanted to sue me. And I said, let me just go ahead.
Hmm.
Before I got in the ring, I didn't even have balance. In the locker room, when you're warming up, there's no balance.
Right.
So he took 10 rounds to get rid of a buffalo. Where if I fought, let me tell you, if I fought Tyson, Holyfield, anybody that night, they would have stopped me in 1 round. That's why. That's why I don't even want to talk about that fight.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, Your final win inside the ring came against Flo Simba at the Emperor's Palace, Kempton Park, South Africa. Talk me through that fight and the finish.
Also, a young up and coming rising star in South Africa, Rodney Berman, one of the top promoters in South Africa, had him. So, they want to do, how it is, they want to use you as a stepping stone, to get their fighter to a position.
Yep.
And Berman he said all along, he said, listen, we're going to beat Botha. And sure enough, I said, you know what, it won't happen. And sure enough, the boy was too young. I fought a lot of young aspiring fighters, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I've stopped a lot of their careers at the wrong time. They shouldn't have fought me.
Yeah. Okay. Unlike most boxers, you competed in multiple combat sports, boxing, kickboxing, and MMA. What was the reason for the transition?
I was I was in Vegas actually getting ready for some title fight. I was training in Vegas, and something happened with that fight. And they called me from Japan. Steve Calacoda, a former a friend of mine who's involved in the kickboxing, called me from Japan. He said, Francois, listen, you wanna come and view, just look at the fights, the K1.
Mm-hmm.
I said, listen, okay, I'm busy with a fight. So I gave him an amount of money. I said, listen, put the money down, then I'll come. I'll come. And sure enough, I did pay it. I went to Japan, and from then I went into K1. And let me tell you something. That's also something different. It's those any other K1 fighters won't last against a fighter in a boxing ring. But if you go to their arena, it's a way different sport.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's painful, but I've done very well. I beat the three-time world champion. I beat some other champions, but then I've lost. But it's a painful story. It's not an easy game.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I wanted to talk about your two biggest wins in K1. The first was the 2004 K1 World Grand Prix final elimination against all-time kickboxing legend Jerome LeBanner. Walk me through that fight.
Yeah, let me tell you, Mike. That was a fight that I think there was a lot of betting going on, and I think they all that was backing Jerome LeBanner.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you look at Jerome LeBanner's his career, I mean, he's a superstar in the K1. He's one of
Mm-hmm.
the best K1 fighters. And yeah, I went in there. He came out, but I knocked him out. I think in the second or third round, I stopped him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Let's see here. The other fight I wanted to talk about came against the great Peter Aerts, the K1 2004 World Grand
Mm.
Prix final. How good did it feel to pick up that win, and what were your thoughts about him as an opponent going into that fight?
Let me tell you, it was when Peter Arts kicked me the first time, because I think he's a southpaw, so he kick you with a strong leg on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So when he kicked me the first time, I said, "Ooh," I said, "What the hell am I doing here?"
Yep.
I just said, "I'm gonna close my eyes. If you kick me again, I'm gonna close my eyes and just fall down." But then when he kicked me again, my mind just changed. That fighter instinct came out of me, and I went in and I trained. I had some guys from Holland in South Africa training with me, like Lloyd van Dams. He's one of the biggest or best K1 fighters, tough guy. So I had him coming from Holland, and they were in here training with me, and I learned how to check and block the kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you kick, once you hit, they kick. So I learned that, and you know what? It worked out perfectly for me, because when Peter Arts, and he can kick. I mean, 4 or 5 time world champion. This guy kick.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll break your leg. And when he kicked, I checked, I blocked, and he broke his. I think he broke his toes on my shin, and that's
Okay.
how I won that fight. I was so lucky with that.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah, I was
all-time
happy.
great. All right.
What's
Let's
that?
see here. You're in 2004 again. You make the switch from kickboxing to MMA, and one of my favorite Japanese fighters ever, Akiyama, you faced. What can you say about that experience?
Oh, okay, yeah, man. That's a six-time kung fu champion, isn't he?
Hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, but these guys are throwing me in this thing because I told them, I said, listen, I don't do this MMA thing, you know. I said,
Hmm.
listen, man, the organizers. I said, listen, I don't do this MMA thing because there was a fight that was supposed to happen. It didn't happen. I was supposed to do just a K1 fight.
Okay.
So then, back then, they were paying me like $100,000 an event. So so when they offered me that guy and they say it's MMA, I said, listen. And I looked at him. I said, they brought him out. I looked at him. I said, listen, this boy, one shot, man. I said, just one shot. This boy, he's gonna be gone. You know, he's small.
Hmm.
When the bell ring, that boy was on the ground all the time, all around. I'm like, Mickey, where the hell is this guy? But boom, my knees, my legs are out under me, and then he's sitting on top of me. And then the arm bar thing. I
Hmm.
had like I think I had like a day I had to train how to get out of that arm bar thing. So when he was sitting on top of me, I had a gi on. So
Hmm.
when he was sitting on top of me, I said, okay, let me give him my arm, and then I'm gonna do the get out of it. How I trained how to get out of the arm bar.
Hmm.
And as he did that, my hand got stuck in that gi. He almost tore my arm off, and I tapped out. I said, no, let me give him my money. I go,
That's awesome. What do you think throughout your career? What fight or what win would you say was your greatest performance?
there's quite a few. I mean, listen, I wouldn't say there's like great performances and stuff, but I mean, I had some good times. And like when I won a title in Germany, short lived there, Michael Moore, all my fights was actually very, very meaningful to me. That and to probably to the public. Uh,
Gotcha.
Michael Moore. I mean, I think
Hmm.
Michael Moore was my first loss.
Hmm.
Now let me tell you about Michael Moore. Michael Moore, I could have probably stopped in the second or third round. But need to, that's why when we train fighters now, is you got to monitor your fighter as well.
Hmm.
If a fighter peak too soon, he's gonna go over the peak, and then it's all down. So you got to hold your fighter. You got to know how to let him go and hold him. And
Hmm.
with me, with Michael Moore, I was in such good shape. The morning of a fight, I even went for a little jog. I shouldn't have done it, man. I was just so in good shape.
Hmm.
And then the first round, after that, when the bell rang for the first round, when I came to the corner, I was a dead man. I had no energy. And the first round, if I could have continued my second round how I did my first round, I would have knocked Michael Moore out. I'm sure of it.
I met Michael Moore accidentally in 2006. I was living in a town in the state I live in called it was called Fort Smith, Arkansas, and I was there
Uh,
at a TGI Fridays restaurant with my girlfriend having dinner on a Friday night, and I got up from the table and went to use the restroom. As I'm standing there going to the bathroom, um, someone walks up beside me in the stall beside me, and I finish and I go to turn around, and it's Michael Moore standing there using the bathroom. He was in Arkansas to help Jermaine Taylor train for a fight. So I've met Michael Moore in a restroom.
he's a good man. Listen, Michael is a good man, but I think Michael didn't get all the recognition and opportunities that he should have had.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with
He
that.
could have been
Yeah,
a much. He could have been a lot bigger than what they made him to be. You know,
yeah,
they didn't manage him right. I don't know who was his management, but yeah, he came and then he disappeared.
yeah. All right. Throughout my time interviewing fighters, I've met pit bulls, panthers, tigers, lions, snakes, spiders, and even sharks. I have to ask you, where does the nickname the White Buffalo come from?
Yes, one of the
Well,
biggest promoters probably one of the biggest promoters.
Don King.
Yeah.
There we
So I
go.
was I was at a press conference in Chicago, Dan King was where all the Muslim leaders, Farrakhan, and all those guys were there. Mike Tyson
Mhm,
just came out of prison. So it was going to be the announcement that Mike Tyson versus, I was going to be the sacrificial lamb, the first fight out of prison, Mike Tyson.
mhm.
So I was happy about it, but then something happened again. My thing with the Axel Schultz, the German fight, the
Mhm.
steroid thing, the drug thing, all that came up to me, and then now I'm taking him to court and all that. So it was a big mess.
Okay. Um, these next questions are strange, maybe funny, hopefully, maybe just weird. I asked these to make the professional fighter more relatable to regular guys like me, my neighbor, my coworker. These questions are designed to have at least half the people watching saying yes, just like me. Um,
Of course,
what do you?
of course. Listen. We are all alike, and we're all the same.
Yeah. What do you prefer? What do you like better, pizza or burgers?
But I actually like burger, but I'll take a burger. Good burger is good.
All right. Both in their prime. Who wins, Ali or Tyson?
I gotta go with my man. Ali. I was in the MGM Grand actually before the Tyson fight, and Ali came and he grabbed my fist and he smelled it, and I got that photo. I got that photo where he's smelling my fist like that. That's my idol. It's always been my idol.
Hmm.
Even as a young amateur, I looked at him and we were all that. He's just a great fighter. And
I
it'll
believe
always
he's
be
the
my
greatest
idol.
to ever do it.
Yes,
Okay.
stick like stick and
Float
move.
like a
That's what it
butterfly
does.
and sting like a bee.
Yeah, stick like a bee.
What is your favorite animal at the zoo?
Buffalo.
Of course. All right. What is your favorite Rocky movie?
Yeah, there was a lot, but I don't know. It's Rocky. Mm. Probably the one where he's fighting. What's that guy's name?
The one with Mr. T or the
The
Russian?
Apollo. Was it Apollo?
Apollo, the first one, first and second. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the
Okay.
first one. I mean, that was huge. I think you know what, Mike. I was in New York. I was in New York at that time with a promoter in South Africa taking me and Dingan Tubela, young old fighters from South Africa. They took us to New York for a training stint, and I went to I think it's what gym was it? Gleason's in
Okay.
New York, and I sparred there, and that's when I sparred. I was still young. But basically a young pro, and I started sparring with I think Briggs and all those guys there, and Tony Tucker and
Hmm.
all those guys were there.
Wow.
They gold medalists,
Hmm.
and they saw me sparring against these guys. But it was like a wall. You know, we weren't used to fight like that because everybody wanted to knock you out.
Hmm.
And after that, it was an experience. After that, yeah, that's when my things started happening. People started wanting to get to know the Buffalo better.
Okay. Am I more likely to see you drinking a cup of coffee or a can of energy drink?
Probably a cup of coffee. I don't like the energy drinks too much. It's not very safe for you. I believe
They're
there's a
so
lot
bad.
of negative things. If
Hmm.
you if you if you if you look at everybody with these energy drinks, I mean, there's a lot of complaints, a lot of stories going on.
Hmm. Everybody's kidneys are wrecked.
Yeah, I love my coffee in the morning.
There we go. Are you a one cup guy or you have a few?
No, no, I gotta have 2 cups.
There we go. I figured. All right. Another question about fighters, again, both in their prime, except this time in MMA. Who wins, George St. Pierre or Anderson Silva?
Well, I know Anderson Silva.
Okay.
Uh, I think he's some of one of the top guys, man. So I don't know the other guy. What's his name?
George St. Pierre. He was
I
the
don't know.
long
George
time.
St.
They're
Pierre.
both considered probably in the top five greatest UFC fighters ever.
Is there? What weight's up by heavyweight?
George St. Pierre was a welterweight. He was from Canada. He held the belt for years. Um,
Serious.
and there was the same way there's always kind of been talk about Tyson Ali. For years, there's been talk about GSP versus Anderson Silva. They were both champions at the same time, separated by just one weight class. So for years, there was talk about the super fight. It never happened. So it's the one that MMA fans didn't get to see.
Why would you think so?
I don't think the fight happened because they were both
Money?
so.
You think it's money? They maybe want too much money, and the guys don't want to pay the money. I don't know. You know,
I don't think
there's
the
gonna be a lot of
UFC wanted to lose one of their big time champions, and that would have happened if they'd have fought each other.
yeah. You must remember also. You know,
Money.
let's say I'm the promoter and I got Tyson. Look at Dan with Tyson. Look how much
Mm-hmm.
money Dan made with Tyson. So Dan, Tyson is Dan's cash cow.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not gonna make him lose. He wants
Yeah.
him to win. He wants to give him all the guys that he knows Tyson
Mm-hmm.
can beat.
Yep. All right.
And
Go ahead, sir.
I knew when Dan wanted to put me up against Tyson, I knew I was a sacrificial lamb back then. But I told him, I said, listen, I even told him, I said, I'm not no sacrificial lamb here. You're gonna see a different thing here.
It turned out being Peter McNeely,
Yeah, I'm telling you.
who I've had on the show. He's one of my favorite people ever. I can call him today and spend 30 minutes laughing. I love Peter.
Oh yeah, I saw some of his stuff. It's real funny, the boy.
Mm-hmm. Very funny. All right. Let's say tomorrow you get in a street fight with Jake Paul. Who wins?
Ah, no, please. No, you cannot listen. No, that would be murder. They will definitely lock me up for murder. I promise you.
That's about all right. This is a strange question, but everybody has a preference. In your bathroom at home, Buffalo, does the toilet
Yeah.
paper go over the roll or under?
It's over.
Okay, over. Very good. All right, Buffalo. You are going to go. You are on your way to commit a bank robbery, and you have to take two people with you: a gunman and a getaway driver. Who are you taking?
Yeah.
I bet you've never been asked that before.
I think I work alone.
Okay, there you go. Then you don't have to worry about loose ends. No loose ends.
No,
All right. What is something that you really enjoy doing in your own spare time that people don't know about?
I used to like to play golf, you know.
Okay.
Uh, at, at, at some stage in California, when I lived in Newport Beach in California, I was two handicap at one stage.
Wow.
I went down to two handicap. And yeah, with golf, I played, but I played golf like probably 3-4 times a week sometimes.
Okay. And
So
I've heard
yeah,
stories of you golfing with Kevin Iole. Those must have been some great times on the course.
yeah, but I mean, listen now, you know, I'm not so good anymore. Because I don't play no more. And, yeah, it's you need time to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Um, as you know, the reason I do these interviews is to hopefully inspire people who are struggling or feeling broken, or maybe they're at rock bottom. If you had a message to share with the viewers who are going to watch this that are struggling about not giving up, what would that message be?
You know, it's like me. It's like you can't give up. If you give up, what happens to you? You know, if you lay down, people will walk over you.
Hmm.
But nobody's gonna help you. You gotta do it yourself. People won't help you if you know they like I said, they'll walk over you. So with me, the same thing. I've got good friends. It's like you'll have to listen to my story one time, Mike, and I'll tell you my whole thing, the ups and downs. We'll probably have a good time about it, and we'll do a lot more of these interviews. But
Okay.
yeah, listen, the most important thing I can say is don't let go of God. You gotta trust in God, and you gotta believe. And without God, nothing is possible. God makes everything possible. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that's the most important thing is in the mornings every day say your prayers, talk to Jesus or to God, and say, listen, you know, every day I do my church twice a day, so I think it's important to have a relationship with our Father in heaven.
Absolutely. I want to get into what you have going on in your life right now because there's some big things happening. I'm going to try to switch over to bring in Lawrence. I've never done this before. Hopefully, it works out. Give me just a second.
Damn.
Lawrence,
There
how are
he
you,
is.
sir?
Hi, Mike. Finding yourself.
It's great to meet you. Fans, this is Lawrence. He has known the Buffalo. Well, I'll just let him tell the story. Lawrence, when did you first meet the Buffalo?
I was about 9 years old, and my father also took us to boxing in Pretoria in South Africa. And yeah, that's where we met the Buffalo.
Okay. Um, Buffalo shared with me yesterday, and I think you mentioned it as well. Um, you guys were boxing together at what age?
Yeah, well, Buffalo is a year or two older than me.
Okay.
But yeah, I was about 9 years old when I started. Yeah, and like I said, we always look up to Buffalo because he was like the captain there of the club where we boxed. He was the big guy, but always a champion inside and outside the ring, always willing to help and give advice. So yeah, he's a very, very good guy.
That's awesome. I think the same about you, Buffalo. Lawrence, the
Yeah,
reason we
thanks,
brought
man.
you on is because you guys have recently, I'm guessing, I don't know what you want to call it, a business. Um, Tell me about the security business that you guys have started, what sort of services you offer, how it came about, and where you hope to take it.
Okay, 100%. Yeah, I was previous in South Africa. I was a police officer as well for a couple of years, and then I started doing private security contracts when I left the police. So I've been doing this now for almost 30 years now. I was involved all over Africa, um, Somalia, Zambia, Tanzania, Kenya, and in South Africa as well. We've, we've done from VIP protection to static guards, deployment, escorts on vehicles. And yeah, uh, so I was also doing contract work most of the time. I've done some anti-piracy work, do some training with people, forces in Africa. And then in 2018, me and my other partner, Eugene, he was a South African Special Forces in the military
Hmm.
for about 10, 11 years. We also have extended tours in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, all over Africa. And so we've got good experience in the industry. So we hooked up and we started our own business in 2018. And then pre, earlier this year we hooked up with Buffalo, and he's also interested in the security industry. So he said, "Now let's join forces." Like I said, I know him since I was 9, and like I said, he's a champion inside and outside of the ring. So yeah, we joined forces with him, and we're gonna grow from big to bigger.
That's awesome. Buffalo, I'm assuming because of your fight career, you didn't spend your whole life thinking about being part of a security business. tell me about the moment that your interest in doing this changed.
It actually, I've been involved in a little bit of security before. I
Okay.
hooked up with Lawrence again. I was with a company called PRSS for a while. But came up to my rescue. I was like with a guy in South Africa. He's one of the biggest retail guys, so I was busy with him. And around there, some riots or something broke out there, and I went there, and the guy started tearing my shirts, and that like 4, 5, 6 guys jump you. So then PRS as the security company showed up, and they assisted me. They came there and assisted me, and we broke everything up. So yeah, I joined them for a while as probably also as an ambassador for them. I still deal with them. We will actually work with everybody now. I think everybody's gonna want to work with us because we're gonna fight crime and we're gonna protect the people we need to protect.
That's awesome. If someone is wanting to get in touch with you about acquiring some of your services, how do they go about doing that?
We got a web page. Everything, our website, everything is up there. Lawrence can give you more advice on our websites and everything like that. It's all busy. We're all setting up all our stuff still, but yeah, we're getting ready to rock and roll.
Okay. Lawrence, where do you see this business in 10 years?
Well, we hope, and we are working towards being acknowledged international. With Buffalo helping us, I think we can go very big international with it. The
I think
exposure
with
we're gonna
Buffalo,
get, the
you
exposure,
probably could just take him.
yeah, like I said, with the exposure with Buffalo, so it's a win-win situation. Like I said, we've got the experience, long time in the security.
Michael, this is gonna be the best team in Africa. I'm telling you. Not only Africa. I think worldwide we can compete. We can really VIP protection. Everything we can do. We get the best server. We get the best quality people with us, and we get the what you say, Lawrence.
The thing is,
They get all the experience in security.
the thing is that helps us a lot is because of my previous police background and my other partner Eugene's previous military background. We've got very good people to have exposure. We've got ex-policemen, ex-military special forces people. So yeah, I think, and I don't want to be a big mouth, but we've got some of the best people in the country, and probably not far behind the best in the world. And one thing I can always also say about Buffalo that I don't know, or few people know, before he went pro boxing in America, he was a firefighter in South Africa.
Okay.
Also working close with police, and it's always been a passion of him to help people.
Michael, sorry, Lawrence. The fire department, that was a very rewarding job for me, Michael. To save someone's life, to get that just by saving someone's life is an amazing feeling to see that the person really makes it. So we've done a lot. In the fire department, you see so much. A lot of let's say we're 50 guys on a course. Probably 1 or 2 guys will remain left. They cannot stand the blood, the death in the situations.
Gentlemen, it has been great talking to you. I'm out of questions, written and ones that I can come up with on the fly. Is there anything else you guys would like to share before we hop off of here and I upload it?
Well, I can just say,
okay, well, you know what, Michael? If you have any problem, you're in Kansas.
Yes, I'm in Arkansas. Yeah.
Arkansas. Okay, so any problem, we do VIP protection. We can be very like in a jiffy. You must just let us know.
If I ever make it to the point that I personally need protection, you will be the first person I call.
I can just say,
we will help anybody in need, Michael.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and I can just say, the guys can look on our website. It's www.globalrisks.co.za.
Okay.
And me and the Buffalo and Eugene, everyone is on there, so they can email us and get our emails, and we can take it from there.
Awesome. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Franz, I know this has been a several month process for us. I've enjoyed it the whole time. I can't wait to have you on again. We'll talk about what happens with the news this coming week. Lawrence, it's been amazing meeting you. It's not every day that a former police officer cares about talking to a convicted felon in another country. I appreciate you guys. I'll get this uploaded to YouTube in the next hour or two, and I'll send you both a copy of it as soon as it uploads. If for any reason you don't like it, please let me know. I will take it down.
Mike, thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Buffalo. I appreciate it very much.
Okay, Lawrence.
Thank you, guys.
One love.
Yes, sir. Have a great rest of your day, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.